What does a cowgirl know about leadership? A lot. My life depends on it every day. In my line of work, I have to go beyond the laws of nature and create a lasting impression and a bond between predator and prey. Because how would a little country girl like me know how to convince a 1,000-pound animal to want to do what I ask? First, I see him as my equal. I give him my confidence, respect, and trust, and I have to earn the same from him. I have to become his leader and help guide him through right and wrong. Have you ever noticed how there are some people that you're naturally drawn to and others you just rather stay away from? Horses are the same way, and they'll tend to tell you if they don't like you. Horses have taught me to refine my communication skills in the most subliminal, simplified, and highly effective ways. But how can an animal teach us as humans to become better communicators and leaders? It's by learning how to connect. There's no mistaking when a horse chooses to be with you. True leadership and connection seem to be very rare in today's society. We seem to have disconnected from one another and even disconnected from ourselves. When I meet a new horse, I have to reach inside of myself to be in that moment with him. I have to listen to him and try to understand his past and what has brought him to this state of mind. Feel his feelings. When we achieve this, we begin to connect. To help solidify a genuine connection and lean towards creating a relationship, I look for things that I can truly admire about his unique self. I give appreciation through this. Horses and people are very similar in the fact that we tend to mirror one another's emotions. And honestly, when you can make this kind of connection, the mind opens and you can begin to communicate. But we don't speak to each other through words, and sounds we use are merely cues. No, this simplified approach is often more accurate than what words can say. Words can be misleading and vague, but emotions such as anxiety, fear, love is universal. The way horses speak is subliminal. Through body language, we can begin to become more aware of how we are being perceived in conversations. But even beyond this, horses seem to be able to sense how we feel. You've heard that they can smell fear, which is true. Horses do have a heightened sense of awareness. And in order for us to be able to achieve this skill that they naturally possess, we need to open up our ability to guide our emotions. That is the key to effective communication and leadership. I discovered this skill through a very challenging and traumatic year of my life. October 2008. I reached a lifelong goal. I was crowned the Calgary Stampede Princess. It is the most prestigious way for a young cowgirl to be recognized for her talents. With more than 400 functions over the course of the year, myself and 3 other talented young ladies were highly trained and manicured to host and be ambassadors of this amazing celebration that celebrates the cowboy lifestyle. This was a dream come true. We spent the year traveling across the world and around Canada, sharing our Western spirit. I'll never forget that feeling I had in my heart when I felt the crown being placed on my cowboy hat after 5 long weeks of competition. Pure joy. I was the happiest girl in the world, and I held on to that feeling until a few weeks later. I heard some terrible news. 2 of my close friends and coworkers were out fishing, and their boat had capsized. I was totally shocked, and I felt very alone. Even though my heart ached, I tried to stay strong. I knew that they'd want me to take this opportunity to live out the life of my dreams. This is how I found strength. One evening, my best friend, who is also a Stampede Princess herself, came out to visit me. We laughed, shared and compared stories, and had a wonderful evening. Terry's many talents were matched by her beauty and sparkling personality. On her way home, she was struck in a collision. At 22 years old, I helped host and organize my best friend's celebration of life. My heart broke completely. I ached in every way. It brought up the feelings and emotions of what had happened to my friends that would join her in heaven. I even blamed myself for keeping her up too late for the drive home, and I stopped being able to sleep, and I felt my heart so vulnerable. The day after the funeral, I was visiting with her family, and I received a phone call stating that my uncle had just unexpectedly passed. A few short months later, so did my grandfather and my aunt. All over, again and again, my whole world fell apart. At this point, I was totally raw inside. There was just a big gaping hole where my heart used to be. I selfishly begged the questions. How could this be happening to me? Why is this happening? In a year that was supposed to be my greatest, just why? Every thought pained me, debilitated me, and just drew me further away, disconnecting from myself. But my determination to live this lifelong dream was a welcome distraction and kept me going. I wiped the tears, put on my crown, a smile on my face, and convinced myself and everyone else that this was a beautiful life, even though I was dying inside. Nobody knew the better. I became very good at masking my emotions by suppressing them, because in so many ways it was just too painful to acknowledge them. Nobody knew the difference. Nobody except my horse, Kokanee. Kokanee saw right through me. He called me out on my pain and inner suffering by no longer responding to me. He didn't want to be with me anymore. He could sense the brokenness inside of me. And even though I did everything by the textbook, he would no longer wanted to commit to me like he used to. Are you kidding? After all I've been through, I've lost the one thing that could bring me happiness? My horse was my best friend. We used to do everything together. Go on adventures, scale up mountainsides, cross raging rivers. even encounter bears? But was I losing him too? I was forced to either just give up or find what it was I was missing. Yeah, I had no idea what I had lost. I had suppressed my emotions so deeply. I lost who I was. This is where I found myself. Through my horse, I discovered that in order to be able to work with him, I had to learn how to guide my emotions, not hide them, suppress them, or mask them, but feel them, acknowledge them, and use them to communicate and connect with him. I learned there is a way to do this. For example, if you're feeling afraid of something, stop and think for just a moment. Bring it out of yourself and imagine it as something small that can fit in the palm of your hand. Look at it and realize if this is the best emotion to help you get through your situation. Maybe you need to morph it into bravery and let it wash over you to help you find strength. Or maybe you need to listen to that fear and know this is a bad scenario for you and you need to move away to safety. The more I developed this, the more I could see my horse draw closer to me. He then chose me to be his leader. And I could visually see this truth. At that point, I realized I was no longer training my horse, but he was training me. Kokanee helped heal my heart. Once we reconnected, we started competing in this competition called the Cowboy Up Challenge at the Calgary Stampede. It is an extreme competition that is all about overcoming obstacles that are incredibly challenging and out of the ordinary for both horse and rider. In order to win this type of event, you need to have complete trust in the partnership with your horse, precise communication, and the ability to guide your emotions. Kokanee helped me become the first female and the youngest person to ever become champions of this incredible event. Yep, this emotional stampede princess overcame great obstacles and learned how to cowboy up. What I have learned about communication, connection, and leadership is that to realize a higher sense of awareness, and that maybe leadership isn't always about being able to lead others. It's about learning to lead yourself.